Most people go through life believing they're lazy. They look at their lack of progress, their unfinished goals, their inconsistent habits, and they assume the problem lies in their character. They start thinking something is wrong with them personally, as if they were born with a defect that others weren't. But the truth is far less dramatic and far more uncomfortable. You're not lazy, you're simply living without real pressure. You exist in an environment where nothing forces you to move, nothing demands your strength, and nothing pushes you to become more than you currently are. And a human being who isn't under pressure defaults to comfort every single time. People misunderstand laziness. They think laziness is some kind of disease, something that attaches itself to the weak, something that successful people somehow avoid. But laziness is simply the brain doing its job. Your mind was built for survival, not success. It was built to save energy, not spend it. When your environment becomes too soft, too predictable, and too free of consequences, your brain relaxes into minimal effort because it doesn't detect any threat, any urgency, any reason to break a sweat. It's not moral failure, it's biological logic. Think about it. If you knew with absolute certainty that no matter what you do, whether you procrastinate, whether you fail, whether you skip your responsibilities, your life will remain exactly the same, would you really push yourself? Would you grind with full intensity? Of course not. The only reason humans ever push their limits is because something forces them to. A deadline, a danger, a responsibility, a necessity, a fear of consequences. Pressure is the element that activates discipline. Without it, even the strongest person becomes soft. And most people today live in a world that is so comfortable, so padded, so artificially safe, that pressure barely exists anymore. You have food without hunting. You have entertainment without effort. You have communication without leaving your home. You can survive while being unfocused, unmotivated, and undisciplined, and nothing extreme happens to you. The world protects you from harsh consequences, and because of that, your inner fire stays asleep. You're not lazy, you're unchallenged. Real pressure transforms people. Sometimes overnight, you've probably experienced this yourself. Think about the times in your life when you suddenly became extremely productive. Maybe you had a project due the next morning, and you spent the entire night working without distraction. Maybe you were about to lose a job and you became sharper, faster, more responsible. Maybe you were running out of money and you instantly found the discipline to hustle, to take opportunities, to stop wasting time. Notice how in those moments you never felt lazy. Why? Because circumstances demanded your best. Pressure produces clarity, and clarity produces action. Now think about your current life. You wake up and nothing is truly required of you. If you don't go to the gym today, nothing breaks. If you don't work on your goals, nobody punishes you. If you don't take risks or push forward, you still wake up tomorrow with the same life. That lack of consequences breeds stagnation. Not because you're a failure, not because you're weak, but because your circumstances don't force growth out of you. Comfort has diluted your potential. The modern world has engineered comfort to be constant and unavoidable. And while comfort feels good, it destroys ambition. It makes your life tolerable but empty. When everything is easy, you stop fighting. When everything is available, you stop hunting. When nothing is urgent, you stop caring. Your ancestors didn't grow strong because they wanted to. They grew strong because they had to. Their survival depended on their discipline. Your survival doesn't, and that is exactly why you feel stuck. There's a story of a man who lived an average, unmotivated life for years. He slept late, worked minimally, wasted his time, and told everyone he was just lazy. But then he suddenly lost his job, his savings, and his apartment within the same month. He had no safety net, no backup plan, no one to rely on. Overnight, his entire reality shifted from comfort to crisis. And something remarkable happened. He transformed. He was up at 5 a.m. every day. He worked multiple jobs. He stopped wasting time. His brain became sharp, focused, unreasonably determined. He wasn't lazy anymore because pressure had finally arrived. The environment changed, and with it, his entire identity changed. If life had stayed comfortable, he would have remained the same. His potential was always there, but it was dormant because there was no reason for it to wake up. This is the same with you. You have strength you've never used. You have discipline that you haven't activated. You have potential that you haven't tapped into, not because you're incapable, but because nothing has forced you to access it. Pressure is the trigger. Without it, the system sleeps. I once knew a student who procrastinated everything. He wasn't stupid. In fact, he was quite intelligent. He simply had no real pressure. His parents covered all his expenses. Failing classes didn't create real consequences. Nothing in his life demanded urgency. Then in his final year, he received a notice that he would be expelled if he failed one more exam. Suddenly, he transformed. The next months were the most disciplined of his life. He studied with consistency he never knew he had. He passed every exam. People called him motivated, but that wasn't true. He wasn't motivated, he was pressured. Pressure was the source of his discipline. This is why you can watch motivational videos all day and still not change. They make you feel inspired, but they don't create pressure. Inspiration doesn't move you. Consequences do. Until your life demands action, you will always lean toward comfort. This is why most people only change after something collapses, after heartbreak, after losing a job, after financial stress, after reaching rock bottom. Pain creates pressure, and pressure creates transformation. But here's the powerful part. You don't have to wait for life to break you. You can create pressure voluntarily. You can manufacture urgency. You can design your environment to force you forward instead of holding you in place. And that's where real progress begins. So how do you create pressure in a comfortable world? First, you remove the easy options from your life. As long as you have a soft fallback, you won't fight. If you know you can always quit, you will. If you know you can delay your work without consequences, you will. Your brain chooses the path of least resistance, unless resistance is unavoidable. That's why successful people eliminate temptations and distractions. They don't rely on willpower. They change the environment so pressure is constant. They create deadlines, commitments, and structures that force action. They understand that laziness is simply the absence of necessity. Second, you must raise your standards to a level where living below them becomes uncomfortable. If your standards are low, you won't feel pressure to improve. But if you decide that waking up late is unacceptable, that skipping workouts is unacceptable, that wasting time is unacceptable, your brain will feel pressure every time you break your own rules. Standards create internal consequences. When you expect more from yourself, you naturally hold yourself accountable. Third, you must surround yourself with people who apply pressure, not comfort. Your environment shapes your behavior more than your intentions do. If everyone around you is relaxed, unambitious, and satisfied with mediocrity, you will absorb that energy. But if you place yourself among people who are hungry, disciplined, and constantly improving, pressure becomes automatic. Their pace forces you to elevate your own forth. You must intentionally expose yourself to discomfort. Comfort is the enemy of progress, and discomfort is the pathway to growth. When you willingly step into difficult situations, cold showers, hard workouts, challenging tasks, public commitments, you train your mind to handle pressure. You build resilience. You teach your brain that growth is part of your identity, not something you do only when life hits you. Fifth, you must introduce consequences for your actions. You don't grow because things go well. You grow because you feel the cost of not doing what you should. If skipping your goals leads to no consequences, then your goals aren't real. They're wishes. Make failure expensive. Make procrastination painful. Attach discomfort to an action. You're not punishing yourself, you're shaping yourself. When you add pressure to your life, many things will change. You'll feel more focused. You'll execute faster. You'll stop tolerating excuses. You'll lose interest in distractions. You'll take control of your time again. Not because you magically became disciplined, but because discipline became necessary. Pressure creates necessity, and necessity creates action. People who achieve great things don't have an easier life than you. They simply have more pressure. Sometimes that pressure comes from ambition, sometimes from fear, sometimes from responsibility, sometimes from adversity. But regardless of its source, pressure pushes them forward. Without it, they wouldn't be any different from you. because human beings behave according to their environment, not according to their dreams. You need to understand something very clearly. Comfort is not harmless. Comfort is the silent killer of potential. It makes you feel okay while slowly stealing years of your life. It convinces you that later is an option. It tricks you into believing you can improve without effort. It keeps you in the illusion of tomorrow, while tomorrow keeps repeating itself forever. People don't ruin their lives through one catastrophic decision. They ruin their lives by choosing comfort over pressure, day after day, year after year, until ambition disappears entirely. The most dangerous place you can be is not rock bottom. It's almost okay, because almost okay is comfortable. It doesn't hurt enough to force change. It doesn't scare you enough to wake you up. It keeps you stuck in a slow, painless decline. That's where most people live, and that's why most people never change. If you want a different life, you need pressure. Real pressure. Pressure that forces you to care, forces you to focus, forces you to act. But you can create that pressure intentionally. You don't need to wait for disaster. You can choose pressure before pressure chooses you. Set goals so demanding they require growth. Make commitments so serious they force consistency. Remove comfort so ruthlessly that laziness becomes impossible. Become the kind of person who doesn't need life to teach them with pain, because they teach themselves with discipline. You're not lazy. You're just understimulated. You're not weak. You're untested. You're not unmotivated. You're unpressured. You have potential you haven't even touched yet. Pressure is not your enemy. It's your ignition. Introduce it into your life and watch how fast everything transforms.